So okay, so and then I see all your Facebook posts of all your interactions with people, and you seem to have a lot of girlfriends upset with you, or is it all the time? This
Yeah.
you breaking hearts, you know what I mean, all over the place, right?
I think I'm a magnet. All right, I have a group of friends who are female. They work for me at the club, but they're also my best friends. They're like the ones that I travel around with and have dinner with.
Hmm.
So they're kind of like Philly people, man. They're like blunt. They don't hold anything back.
Right on.
And yeah, so I always, every time I complain
Hmm.
about having crazy girlfriend or a stalker, they're like, you attract these crazies and you make them even crazier.
Right on. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
I'm-
I understand.
I guess everyone has some sort of like issue or fault in mind.
Right.
Since day one is always have like some crazy girl in my life.
Right on, right on. So okay, so now you're like the ex rock and roll guy, the bouncer guy, the gun toting guy. At one point in time, the now traveling the world, working internationally in the clubs, always surrounded by a bunch of beautiful women. You know, breaking hearts, having people all upset with you and whatever, and and we get the pleasure of seeing some of these messages and stuff that you receive. But then there's this other side of you, right?
The side that matters.
The side that matters. And so and I think you've been sponsoring children.
Since '96.
Yes. Now,
Yeah.
where's this start? How did this happen?
Okay. So okay, this is how it goes back to the girl from the bank.
Okay. Okay.
So the girl from the bank was from the Philippines. Her family, her mother and father were both doctors,
Hmm.
um, well-to-do.
Hmm.
So her parents opened two hospitals and a clinic in the Philippines. And at the time, I think the furthest I'd ever traveled was to like Mexico and West Coast. And I'm living in Philly at the time, so she says, "Oh, we're going to go to Manila in the Philippines for a month. My dad is, going to do ribbon cutting at this new hospital.
Hmm.
We're going to see family. Do you want to go?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go." So I had no idea, about any other cultures outside of the U.S. pretty much.
Hmm.
So we go over there, and it was kind of overwhelming because I noticed right away the population, the traffic were, and this is 20 plus years ago.
Hmm.
It's even worse now. It was just so many people. But the poverty level was like something I'd never even seen in my life. Like I didn't even. It's one of those things like you would see like documentaries and stuff, and you never think you would see it.
Right.
And but it's so weird how it is there. Like there'll be a mansion, and then slums for like 3 miles,
Wow.
and then the nicest mall you've ever seen in your life,
Mm.
and then people living like with no shoes or shirt like behind the mall,
Wow.
and it was like overwhelming. So, but for my girlfriend at the time and her family, they were like kind of blind to it,
Mm.
and I noticed a lot of the locals there who have money or live a certain lifestyle. They just, I don't know if they're blind to it, they just kind of ignore it. But
Mm.
for someone like me, it was like shocking. It was overwhelming.
Mm.
We would come out of their mansion and had like these gates and security, and they'd open the door and we'd come out in a car and there'd be like kids outside, like no shoes, no
Mm.
shirt, like eating out of whatever they could find
Mm.
on the ground.
Mm.
And I was like, what in the world?
Mm.
And I kept saying, making comments, and she's like, "Oh, it's just how it is here. You need to get over it." And it
Oh.
like kind of pissed me. It kind of pissed me off. And I started like seeing her differently at that point. I was like, because at the time we were like talking about getting married and everything,
Mm.
and I'm like, really? I'm like, is that how she sees things? And
Mm.
it kind of changed my perspective. And then this is pre-internet, so I'm working at the bank. Get home at like 3:30 in the morning, whatever, and I turn on the TV and has one of those commercials with like
Mm.
the poor kids and the
Mm.
tear coming down, and,
Mm.
and I
Yeah.
was like, And I was like, and I showed the organization the 1-800 number.
Mm,
So the next day I like called up and they said, and I checked out the organization and they said, yeah, we sponsor children in India and Africa and Asia and 11 different countries.
mm,
So they sent me the brochure, the packet, and I saw that one of the countries was the Philippines, and I
mm,
said, okay. I said, I'll choose the Philippines because I've actually been there and had my eyes on it a
mm,
bit, you know. So I chose the Philippines, and then they send you like they just send you a packet of like a child in need, like a high needs, and it was a girl and a boy, a brother and a sister.
mm.
So I started sponsoring them. So for I'd say from '96 to 2009, it was basically just sending X amount of dollars each month,
Mhm.
and it goes to healthcare,
Right.
clean water, and necessities.
Hmm.
And then so that's basically how it started.
Okay. So and so you sponsor because obviously many of us. I don't even. Well, I don't even have a TV, but I don't know if they still run these ads or whatever. I mean, on
I mean, there's a lot you'll see on the internet now.
okay, and
Different organizations, yeah.
but obviously, you see the commercials and it's tugging on your heartstrings and everything like
Yeah.
this. But I think the Philly in us would normally think, I don't believe this bullshit. Like this. They
I
want you to
was,
send money and you don't know where. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Oh, trust me, I was even though I was sending money for 13 years,
Hmm.
I was still like really skeptical.
Right. Right.
I was like, do these kids really exist? I know they're sending me letters
Mm,
and photos of the kids as they get older,
mm,
and does the money go where it's supposed to go?
right.
And then yeah, then 2009, I had a friend in San Diego. She was going to medical school
Mm,
in the Philippines, and we were good friends for like 5 6 years. So she said, "Oh, I have school break coming up in like 6 months, and I'm planning like this huge trip. We're gonna go kayaking and hiking and do waterfalls and snorkeling. So I want like all you guys to come." She organized maybe like a dozen of us to come.
mm,
We got to the Philippines, and I don't even know why my stupid brain didn't even think to like somehow see the kids.
mm,
And then she said that to me. She's like, "Oh, while you're here, are you gonna try to see your sponsor kids?" And I was like, "I don't even know if I really can."
mm,
So yeah, so I call the U.S. the number, and I said, "I'm actually here in the Philippines on vacation. Is it possible to visit the kids?" And they said, "Yeah, no problem. There's a community center, and you can set it up with someone there,
mm.
and you go from there." So yeah, so that's what really like opened my eyes to see like where the money went.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because just in the Philippines, just from what I saw, they had there was like community centers all over Manila
Mm,
for the organization, and the community centers they had like a doctor and they had a dentist and they had a library and laptops and like tutors. It was pretty legit. I was
mm,
pretty shocked. I was like, wow, the money's actually doing something, and there was like a lot of kids in there, like getting like checkups
mm.
and like reading and on the computer. So I was like, all right, this is what it's supposed to be. It's actually pretty cool.
That's cool. That's cool. So you got a chance to actually meet the kids that you have been seeing in the pictures, and were you so you're sponsoring the area that like that they are um a part of, or are you sponsoring them directly?
Them directly.
Them directly. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
each kid will have like a sponsor.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's probably, I'd say, other than my dad dying,
Hmm.
the day I met them is probably the only other thing I can compare to like changing my life.
Wow. Wow.
It like messed with my head, man,
Mm,
big time.
yeah. Cause yeah, I'm sure you get the letters and everything, and then you start feeling attached or whatever, and then you finally meet for the first time, and then
Yeah.
that you're actually doing something good, and yeah, yeah, I can imagine.
It was, I mean, at the time, it was 2009. I was a resident DJ at the time
Okay,
in San Diego. I
you're
was
doing
four
everything.
nights a week, and yeah, I was 4 nights a week. I was spinning at some club, and then I was probably the epitome of a douchebag at that point. I was like dressing like an idiot, Ed Hardy. Um, like I would get paid every other Saturday, and the money was gone by Monday on like nonsense.
Wow.
I wasn't, I was just a complete idiot.
Wow.
And yeah, but when I went to Manila
Mm,
to see the sponsor kids. They're like, oh, we're gonna take you to their house,
mm,
and I'm like, okay. So it was me and a few friends, and my friends were, like kind of well to do it,
mm,
and so we go to the area where they're at, and it was like, man, oh man. I mean, to say it was slums is like being nice.
mm,
I mean, it was bad, man.
yeah.
I mean, the only way to get to the house, you got to go down these alleys, and there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people.
Mm,
You're like weaving your way in between like all these people that are out, and like it is just
wow.
poverty times 100. And
Wow.
then you get to their house, and it's like down this little narrow alleyway.
Mm,
Go in the house, there's like no windows, it's just cinder blocks.
mm,
There's like 15 people in this house that's probably like the size of our living rooms.
wow.
They sleep on the floor. There's no toilet. They go, behind the house in like a
Mm,
field. And and then the father, when he heard I was coming, he didn't even own a shirt. Like he borrowed a shirt from someone,
wow.
you know. And
Wow.
so we go in, and they have like no food, but they like borrowed whatever they could from like neighbors to like make us like some like chicken and rice and stuff that they can't even like afford to eat themselves, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And and I was just like, and like me and my friends were like wearing like nice clothes and nice watches,
Mm,
and we're like miserable a-holes.
yeah.
And these people have nothing, and they're like singing and
Mm,
they're smiling. I was like, man, I got this shit backwards, you
wow.
know?
Wow.
I'm like, I'm like,
Mm,
what am I doing wrong?
right. Right.
So I think it was probably the hardest I've ever cried in my life. It was like an emotional dump, like
Mm,
when we said goodbye,
mm,
and he like thanked us for coming and coming to their home, and like we all walked, all of us, we all like walked down the alley, and we were like, when we like got out of sight, like we all lost it, man.
yeah.
We were all like, I was hyperventilating. I was
Yeah.
crying so hard. I was like,
Yeah.
man, what
Shit.
am I doing with my stupid life?
Wow.
And
Wow.
that pretty much changed me forever.
I can imagine. And what year was this?
2009.
2009. Because I now this is where my memory gets a little bit shaky. Maybe because I remember you have been sponsoring them it, since the bank times, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right, so I think you did bring at least some pictures
Yeah,
and some I don't know if you brought letters or whatever, but I definitely remember the pictures that you had and everything.
yeah,
So that's
yeah, I
like
did.
shit, man.
Yeah.
And so this changed your life, and it's kind of you're saying that you it made you think about how you were living your life. Uh,
Yeah, I went back, dude. I went back and like all I stopped buying like nonsense. I'm like, like from that day on, for the most part, I mean, I'm no angel now, but still, for the most part, like every time I like buy something, like, do I really need this? Do I
right,
really have to have this?
right,
And
right.
and for me, it's like I went from sponsoring one kid to two kids to I'm sponsoring like I don't even
Mm,
I don't even know at this point. Like I'm sponsoring like two families plus a bunch of kids.
wow.
But it's like for me, it's like if I don't buy a pair of Adidas this month,
Mm,
that's like three kids who can like eat and have like school shoes and live a life, you know.
wow.
And
That's
so it kind of like definitely changed my perspective that I need to stop being an asshole. And at
mm,
the same time, it's like my dad dying like always affected me from that day on. And it kind of like opened my eyes. I'm like, am I doing anything in my life to like make my dad proud of me?
wow.
You know, I'm just like acting like a complete idiot.
Yeah. Wow.
So
Well, I'm sure he's proud of you now, right?
I'm getting well here and there, up and down.